earlier this week we talked about portal needs.
Yeah, we did.
For Ole Miss, if you take Lane Kiffin at his word, which I think you should, he has made it, I think, abundantly clear that they are going after some defensive backs in the transfer portal.
Correct.
Mississippi State, we talked about defensive back. Mm-hmm. We know they're going after offensive line because they had one commit recently. Mm-hmm. So those are portal needs, things that the roster is missing.
They didn't commit yet.
He didn't commit yet?
The North Alabama kid?
I thought he committed.
He is not committed. He's getting the crystal balls and the.
Okay. Well, so Mississippi State is targeting an offensive lineman.
That's how we'll put it. Yes.
1 + 1 = 2. Mississippi State feels like they need offensive line. Mm-hmm. What about the other side of it? What position, group or groups at Mississippi State and Ole Miss do we look at as we sit here on April 10th and say they don't need to add in the portal there? They are very good, or at least solid at these spots.
For State, the one that stands out is running back. You got Devon Booth back and Johnny Daniels. Both of those guys showed you that they can be SEC running backs a season ago. Booth especially was really good in the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. And then you went out in the transfer portal and you got Fluff Bothwell, maybe one of the most highly coveted backs.
When those all-name teams
he will be a stalwart.
If he's not on it, that's a problem.
You also have Xavier Gayton, who was limited action last year, but he flashed. To use the terminology there, he flashed when he played. Speedy guy, he can give you some carries there. And then you brought a guy whose name keeps getting brought up coming out of spring is Colin Wilson, the running back from Alabama. Is he from Alabama or is he the one that's from Bartlett? I can't remember. Let me look. But anyway, his name keeps coming out of practice, and they're saying he's doing some things. Now, granted, he's from Gulf Shores. He's behind a lot of guys there. But if there's one thing we know about Jeff Lebby's offense is he can find carries for running backs. I always go back to, Judkins had his great year after Lebby left. That was when he became sort of the workhorse of that offense. Lebby's years, I think of the committees they had with Snip Connor and Jerrion Ely and Henry Parrish. He got all those guys plenty of carries.
That 1 year they had 4 players, including quarterback, run for over 500 yards.
I think State would rather Shapen not run that much, but we'll see. But running back is easily, to me, the best room in State's football building.
Proven, no doubt.
Safety is less proven. Isaac Smith is there. But
is he playing linebacker, or was that just a thing?
I don't know. Again, you got to remember, we're not getting any viewing of practice to tell you the truth there. But I think that it's going to be probably some situational stuff, if I had to guess. Like they might move him up into the line, have some packages, try to get some more speed on the field. But then you have Jabron Manning, the transfer from Old Dominion, who was one of the top safeties in the portal.
Yeah, Manning plays at Mississippi State as
it should be.
Yeah.
You have Tony Mitchell, who was a 5-star kid out of high school, goes to East Mississippi for a year, and now is at Mississippi State. They feel really good about him. You've got some guys there in that safety room that can play SEC football, I think. The other one I would say is linebacker, a little less SEC proven. Brandon Jennings played for State last year, and he was good. You can see there's some athleticism. State's linebackers were just kind of undone by the lack of defensive line talent last year. Jalen Smith was really good for Tennessee a season ago. I like Zachary Tillman a lot. I think he's a guy who probably should have played more a season ago for Mississippi State. He's a good young athlete. Linebacker is probably the third-place room. The one I have the most confidence in, though, is running back. They have real SEC players there.
Mm-hmm. So is that – that was a lot. You said a lot of good stuff. Is that it, though?
After that, Shapen is a proven guy at quarterback.
He is a proven guy at quarterback.
And the other two guys behind him are a 5-star and a high 4-star.
Yeah, no quarterback shopping in the portal in the spring.
I just saw that there's an article out today on 3 from Charles Power talking about Camario Taylor. A lot of good stuff there. They love that kid. They think he's the guy of the future. But they're not going portal. They're not. Nico won't be visiting Starkville if that's the case.
For Ole Miss, positions that they absolutely don't need to go portal shopping. Now, number 1 is wide receiver. You've heard me talk about it before. Only one of these guys played for Ole Miss last year, but the proven talent that they have in that receiver room should really excite Ole Miss fans, especially with the young quarterback having a great group of wide receivers can certainly help. Caden Lee returns. Everybody knows what he's capable of.
One of the most underrated players in the SEC.
Great route runner.
Yeah.
And what's really underrated about him is, he's a small guy. He's a really small guy. He doesn't take big hits. He knows how to catch the ball and not get smoked.
I saw a video of Tyler Lockett the other day. He catches the ball, he takes 2 steps. If somebody's near him, he's going down.
Good. That's how you protect
small
yourself.
Receiver. Yeah, you got to protect yourself.
But they get DeJon Stribling from Oklahoma State, and everything you hear about him is they love him at Ole Miss. The Oklahoma State transfer caught over 800 yards with the passes last year with, frankly, really bad quarterback play, and he was their guy. Harrison Wallace III, otherwise known as Trey Wallace from Penn State.
Great Ole Miss name, though. Harrison Wallace.
Harrison Wallace III.
Fantastic Ole Miss name.
He's a pledge for KA this fall for sure. But, those are who you would assume would be their starting receivers anyway, and that is a really experienced
His
group.
name isn't wacky enough to make Bunky Perkins' tall list, yeah.
But what's even better is their backups.
Yeah.
So Traylon Ray from West Virginia, I know he got hurt, but he caught over 400 yards worth of passes for West Virginia. Deuce Alexander, over 400 yards worth of passes at Wake Forest. Caleb Odom, 5-star. And then you've got guys that you brought in, like Watkins, the freshman from Florida, blue chip receiver. Caleb Cunningham is going to join this team soon. He's a 5-star. Or was a 5-star, but he didn't go to the right camp, and so they dropped him.
He didn't finish as a 5-star?
Depending on your service, he didn't finish as a 5-star.
What a joke.
But those are your third-string guys. The depth that they have and the experience depth that they have at wide receiver is what you really like. Again, they're 3 backups, presumed backups, caught 800 yards worth of passes combined, and then one was a 5-star in last year's recruiting class. Also, the tight end position. Pass catchers are a big deal for Ole Miss. Daquan Wright, Luke Has. They also brought in another transfer tight end for good measure as well. But that tight end room, the group of pass catchers for Austin Simmons should be Ole Miss's best strength in 2025. That is the Stranger Things theme song. That's hilarious. It caught everybody here off guard. I didn't. The new season's going to come out soon.
Yeah, I was a little worried there for a second.
All these.
I'll just go ahead and let you know if I hear a clock start chiming them out.
All these.
I'll call it a day at that point.
The 14-year-olds are now almost 30.
Yeah. Well, it's like
So
Karate Kid 3.
Yeah.
Which I know you haven't seen Karate Kid 1, but in Karate Kid 3, he's like 30, but he's still the Karate Kid.
They're going to be high school juniors.
Yeah, it's fine.
Married with kids.
It's fine.
But pass catchers, that's the big thing. That's Ole Miss's best strength this season is pass catchers. Austin Simmons, I assume, really loves what they have there.
Okay.
And then, honestly, defensive tackle, which is a weird thing to say considering what they lost.
But very unproven there.
Very unproven, but there's a chance that defensive tackle is quite good with Xavier Harris, Eccles, Jam Brown, Nikalo Stone all on the interior with Andrew Maddox coming in as well. That is, from a raw talent perspective, a bunch of blue chippers playing defensive tackle.
And we talked about that. They made a conscious decision that we're going to trust the guys we have on this side, on that defensive line. We recruited all these 4-star kids. It's time for them to deliver.
Every name I read was a 4 or 5-star, or Nikalo Stone is like playing his 10th year of college football. So that's their defensive tackle room right now.